Okay, so video number 2. Just to avoid any confusion, I've gone ahead and removed Dr. Mabry's video. He's not teaching this class. He's not involved in teaching this class, and I guess I didn't realize how confusing that would be to have him giving you instructions. So I'm going to just cover the things that I didn't already cover that are in his video. And they're mostly just going through the syllabus. So the first thing is that instead of making a discussion thread this week for introducing yourselves, I'm torn. I really like the discussion thread so that everybody sees each other's introductions. But the way the course is built, make sure that you have, when you log into ELC and your video or your picture and your name are up in the right corner, click on that and make sure that you have a photo uploaded is a requirement for this course, and kind of fill out some of your bio information so that we know something about you. In addition to the discussion thread where you can post answers to those questions for your introduction. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to let me know. If one person says it's confusing, I'll send out an email clarifying what I mean. Just really quick going through the syllabus. By this point in your MSW program, you will have gone through Proceed. It can be a little tricky at times to figure out how it applies directly to a class like, say, assessment and psychopathology, but it absolutely informs the way that we think about diagnosis. And hopefully that will be clear to you as it's woven through the course materials. This class, you do have to have the other required text. I already mentioned the DSM, and you'll have access to that digital version of the DSM. But you have to have the other 2 texts as well. For the course requirements, course participation, as I said earlier, is 20% of your grade. I really do expect you to keep up weekly if you're not in touch with me about an occasional arrangement. If life happens, I get that. But the very least, you have to be caught up by the time each of the exams happens. The first 2 are not cumulative. They're for the section. We'll do about 5 weeks, and then you'll have your first exam. Another 5 weeks, you'll have your second exam. And the third one includes content from all of it. But it's case assessment, so it's not like you're having to remember everything. It's not that kind of exam. But you have to have covered the materials in order to take the exams. So course participation is important. That's 20% of your grade. Each exam is 20% of your grade, so for a total of 60%. And then your final assignment, the remaining 20% is that you're going to read a biography or a memoir, an autobiography or a memoir, or a narrative from the perspective of somebody living with a mental disorder. It really needs to be written from their perspective, not somebody else describing their life. And it needs to be a memoir, not a novel. There is, on the last page of the syllabus, a pretty long list. It's not super up to date, so there's been a number of things written in the last 5 years that could also qualify. But the caveat to that is, please don't use something like A Beautiful Mind or another biography that is made into a movie that you could try to get the information from in the movie, because we really want you to engage with the narrative, with the person's words, with their description of their experience of living with a mental disorder or mental illness. So you'll ask me ahead of time, for approval of whatever your book is that you're choosing. And if it's something that's been made into a movie, it's probably going to be a no. But that final assignment, there's a pretty good description in the syllabus of what that case study essentially will look like towards the end of the semester. So the exams do have a window. You can't just take them anytime throughout the course of the semester. You really have to take them within that couple of day time frame that they're going to be available. Otherwise, everything else, once it has opened, like once each module has opened, it'll stay open for the remainder of the course. So you'll have access to all that information as you go along. I think that's it. After the course requirements or assignments are described, there's a pretty standard grading policy. I mean, if they're late and you haven't talked to me ahead of time, you're not going to get credit, right? So if you talk to me ahead of time, even if it's like, oh, we're approaching the day and I'm really struggling, be realistic about what you can do and email me, talk to me ahead of time if you're going to have trouble getting an assignment on time. And I'm typically willing to work with you. But if you don't tell me till after the fact, then you're going to have, there's just not going to be credit for assignments that you didn't do. So talk to me, be in touch with me. That goes a long way. Okay, and then you've got the schedule of weekly topics and readings. Again, those readings that are not in the books, that are like articles that are posted, I'm fairly sure, I'm going to double check this after I post this video, but I'm fairly sure that you have access to those readings all the way through. So again, if you're one of those people who likes to get, a couple of days ahead once you're done with the previous week, you should have access to those readings all now. But the goal is, the preferred structure is that you would do the readings, then access the PowerPoint kind of mini lecture, and then do any assignments or weekly, exercises or activities. So read first, watch the video second, do the assignments third, is the preferred order of things. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions as we go along, and I try to respond quickly. And typically, if more than one person is asking me the same question, I will send out an ELC email to everybody clarifying the answers to those questions, because if one or two people have the question, probably more do as well. So don't be shy about asking. Let's see. I think that is the gist of it. It's a pretty fast-moving class, which you'll see, after the first 4 weeks, which is kind of the background on diagnosing. We go through a big chunk, like a category per week. So 1 week is major depressive disorders, 1 week is bipolar disorders, 1 week is anxiety disorders. It moves really quickly. Yeah. I have good memories of this class and learning a ton when I was in grad school, so I'm hopeful that is going to be your experience as well. Again, after the assignment list, the schedule and the syllabus, the last thing is some things about various resources, student resources, disability services, ethics and confidentiality. Be really cautious if you're referencing a client. You just have to be really careful that you're not giving away any information that is identifying. And academic honesty, we take it really seriously. We know that we're living in a time where people are using things like ChatGPT to assist them in their writing. But UGA has a very strong academic honesty policy, and so using ChatGPT to write for you, you think you're being sly, and you're not. We can tell, and we have ways of checking it. And if people are not being honest, we have to report it. It's just the way it goes. So if you're not sure if something is plagiarism, ask me. We can talk about it and figure out how to make sure you're not plagiarizing, even unintentionally. And I think that's pretty much it. Again, I will be available as soon as I have my clarity on my office space. Then I can tell you what my office hours are, and you'll have the ability to reach out to me directly during those hours. And if those hours don't work for you, then we can find another time to talk. Don't be hesitant. That's what I'm here for, is to help through the process. If you're having trouble navigating documents or accessing anything on the course, let me know. Again, if you're having trouble, probably other people are having trouble too, so you're helping your classmates out if you alert me to it, and I'll try to fix it as quickly as possible. I think that's pretty much it. It moves quick, but it's a good course, and I still remember things. I'm not suggesting that you'll remember things I say, but I still remember things that my assessment and psychopathology professor talked about in our class, because it really, the way you think about diagnosing and the way you think about mental health and mental disorders and mental illness, depending on the context, really influences the way that you work with clients. So, hope this is helpful as well, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much. Bye.